Hey guys, today we are talking to Ashley and Allison, the co-founders of I Would Rather Be Reading, a nonprofit that focuses on after-school literacy programs here in Louisville, Kentucky. Take a listen.
So first, before we get into the depths of I Would Rather Be Reading, I like to just talk about you guys. So, are you guys both from Louisville?
Yes.
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 Born and raised.
Born and raised. All right. Well,
Are you from Louisville? Are you from Louisville?
No, he's
neither
not.
of
I
us
am.
are. We're both from different sides of not Louisville. I'm
Yeah.
from Southern Indiana, and she's from Taylorsville. So.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So
Okay.
he always calls Indiana the sunny side, and I call this the sunny side. So we're both from the sunny
interesting.
side. Just depends on which side you think
On
you're
which
from.
one
Yeah.
it is. Yeah.
Your perspective. Right?
Yes. Did you guys did you go through the school system here, JCPS, or
Yeah.
yeah?
Yes.
Yep. For the full 12 years. I went to Fern Creek High School, but
Okay.
and that's a obvious question for
Yeah.
anybody who lives in Louisville.
Yeah.
Where'd you go to high school?
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
And I went to the Seneca, which was like the Fern Creek opposite, like the rival, I guess. Who was better? Yeah. So I did. I went K through 12 public education. Big believer in public education. Always have been. So yeah.
Okay. I'm a Catholic school guy, so it's like ingrained into me that like I would never send my kids to public school. It's just like it, like, and in Southern Indiana, which is where I'm from, as we just said, like in Floyd's Knobs, that's like the wealthy kid public schools that many people sent their kids there because, you know, the line of thinking is it's just as good as Providence, and I pay my property taxes. Like, so it's not even necessarily a stigma per se of like the quality. It's just like I went through the Catholic K through 12 system, and it was just like that's what you did. You were just, of course you're gonna go to the Catholic school.
Yeah. Well, funny enough, I mean, my family, they all grew up going to Catholic school. My dad coached at DeSales High School for my whole life.
Yeah.
And my kids do go to Catholic school for the first time ever this year. They're in 6th, 5th, and 4th grades. And I'm a big believer in both. Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be one or the other.
Absolutely.
I think that you have to always do, like, I can have my core beliefs about public education and what it should be and what all kids should have access to and rights to as far as their education and opportunity. And I can also make a decision that's right for my kids and my family. So,
Yeah.
Totally.
and I think that should be true for everyone.
Yeah.
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 And then there's
absolutely.
the homeschool element.
And then
It's
there's
like
the
we
homeschool
have to
element.
homeschool.
Yeah.
But like I feel, passionately about both of those things. It's like I want public school to be high quality, and really my thoughts on education aren't about where it comes from per se, other than like the parents need to feel the moral responsibility that they're ultimately where the buck stops, regardless of who they delegate responsibilities to. But outside of that, like what I believe about education are the type of subjects and ways of learning, not necessarily like if it's from federal funds or not. Like, so, you know,
Yeah.
mainly I just believe in classical education, and that loosely. Typically, do you guys get into those types of conversations at all? We don't have to talk about classical education today, but I have clients that I'm going to end up having full podcasts on.
Having those conversations.
But whether it's like Latin, Greek, the great works as far as books go, or like the grammar, rhetoric, arithmetic, geometry, astronomy, stuff like that. I'm always scared I'm going to say astronomy or astrology.
I know. I get it. Yes, absolutely.
But I don't know if that's anything that you guys have ever thought about or talked about with people, especially maybe on the great work side with books.
the great work side being just like the great authors, you mean? Yeah. I mean, I definitely think exposure is so key for everybody. Just know that it's out there and know why it was important and why it was important specifically for when it was made.
Yeah.
But I am a huge believer in reading as a healthy coping strategy.
Yeah.
And that is truly like my personal mission for why we do what we do. I want
Yeah.
every kid to be able to use reading as a healthy coping tool forever in their lives. So really for me, it comes down to like what interests you? What
Yeah.
do you want to read about? And what is going to make you sit down and listen to a book or read a book?
Yeah.
That's cool. That's smart, especially in the era of social media. It's like instead of
Yes.
just becoming addicted to your phone.
Don't doom scroll.
Yeah,
Yeah.
don't doom scroll.
I was
Yeah.
actually going to say that. I was like, I feel like there's been this shift lately of like people talking about how they're like, I'm not doom scrolling anymore. Instead, I'm reading. And I'm like, I feel like I haven't heard that in years. Like people talking about them reading books, and I'm like, I love that. I started like a list of the books, like try to make a list of the books I read for the year, and gotten a little off. But I think it's great to like set those goals to be like, instead of spending my 30 minutes before bedtime alone in my bed scrolling on social media,
Which
I'm
is
going to
fun
read a book.
sometimes.
Yes, don't get me wrong. I'm like,
Right.
look,
We do
look,
it,
you're
we'll
looking
do it
at.
together.
Yeah.
Let's
well,
watch funny videos together.
we like, or I'll like reels to show him later when I'm like, hey, guess what? I want to show you these funny videos I saw.
Like I went to bed, then I sent you a reel.
Oh, really?
And you were like,
Yeah, you're right there.
Right,
Yeah.
yes.
Like I'm not actually sleeping. I'm just watching.
I'm
reels
just
that
watching
interest
reels.
me.
Yeah. So as someone who like my kids still do nap time, so like I'll make my lunch, get my like LaCroix out for the day, and like sit on the couch and scroll for a little bit. And so in the evening, I'm like, I know I have to go to bed early because I get up early, and so I'm like, I should just spend this time reading instead of looking at a screen. Maybe I'll sleep better. But So anyway, I like that you say like using that as like a coping, because I think also with the doom scrolling, sometimes we use that as a coping mechanism. It's like
Yes.
I can't process this, so
probably
I'm just
more
going to
than
scroll.
sometimes.
Yeah.
I'm just going to scroll, and I'm guilty of it too. And so I think reading is a better coping mechanism.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
what Allie spoke to is really how I Would Rather Be Reading came to be. There are people that would say like, oh, you're creative, look what you built. But if you ask us, we're the least creative people you've ever met. Like,
Absolutely.
we're pretty like, that sounds right. Like, what do you name your after school program? After school program. Like, but that's how we came up with I Would Rather Be Reading, because we were both avid readers. We were working together in classrooms in the same school and dealing with, coming up with the same issues. We went through our literacy certifications together. We were pulling our small groups. We were working with our kids. We were coming up on the same obstacles. And did you try this? Did you try that? And at the end of the day, it was what our kids were experiencing and what was like, we could plan the best lesson that there possibly was to be planned for that, where our kids were developmentally. But if they had other stuff going on at home or at school in different parts of the school or wherever, different parts of the community, what we planned could easily just go out the door, because that's not where their headspace was at the time. And we both use reading as healthy coping strategy, and that would be our goal. Like, hopefully all of our kids learn to read and find something that interests them. And, we feel very passionate about like, oh, you can get in a book and go anywhere. You can be anything. You can explore any land. But at the end of the day, also, if they're not using it as a healthy coping strategy, which that's a very good way to utilize it, you have to be literate. You have to have access to literacy and be illiterate citizens to open up the door to any opportunity.
Yeah.
So, like, at the very least, we want kids to feel safe, and we want kids to have access to the highest quality instruction that they can, whether that be through social skills and literacy. And then once they can learn to read, what doors can we open for them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that makes perfect sense. Especially in a, I don't know, democracy, republic, whatever. It's we have a sort of overall egalitarian worldview for our fellow citizens, and people can have, you can get into the nitty gritty of what's a fair expectation, what's not. But we have a certain reality in which we need our fellow people that we live next to in same cities with. We need to help rise boats with the tide, so that they have the same opportunities as many other people around them. So it makes perfect sense. What kind of what are the after school programs? Like, is it just the kids show up and you say, here's a selection of books and we want you to sit down and read them?
I'm so glad somebody finally asked that question.
Yeah. So that is a component is choice interest, but there's 3 main components to the after school program and to our summer camps. The first is that we offer high quality, completely free literacy tutoring to any kid who enrolls in our program, because tutoring, whatever subject you need extra help in, can be extremely cost prohibitive for a lot of families. So it's important to us that it remains free so that access can be granted to all who come and enroll.
That's awesome.
So every day they get a differentiated literacy intervention really focused on where their strengths are, like what do they already know about literacy, and then what are the next things that they need to know so that they can, be proficient.
Yeah.
And then they've been in school all day, so we sort of like have to trick them a little bit.
Yeah, that was a shift for us. We were
Yes.
so used to being in the classroom
Yes.
and wanted everything to run like a classroom, and learned kind of the hard way. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
they've been in school all
But
day.
they're burnt out.
They're burnt out.
Yep. They need to get up and they need to move and do something with their hands and just interact with like content in a different way.
Yeah.
So we make sure that they have some type of enriching experience every day that they come. So that might be learning the ins and outs of being a DJ, or the art of being a cupcake chef. So we make sure that they have access to just all kinds of experiences. And then this year, actually, we've begun our Career Pathways program.
Okay.
We just have been very lucky and intentional in engaging businesses and organizations in the city that support the mission. And so we're like, you just come on into the program and teach our kids about what is it that you do in your career of construction and design, and create some type of activity so that they can have a hands-on experience and understand what that looks like.
Have you made the soccer team come out?
Yeah, absolutely.
They
They're the best.
Foundation.
Yeah, I saw that
Yes.
they've supported you all. So I was like, surely they got the soccer team out there.
Yes, they do whole soccer clinics. They are the
Awesome.
best, not only for us, but just across the city. They're amazing.
Yeah, they have a specific program. It's like a 10-week. I think it's called On and Off the Pitch. I'm
Yes.
going to mess this up, I guess. But it's a 10-week. Like they teach. They also focus on healthy coping strategies and social skills through
Nice.
the lens of sports and community and camaraderie. And then they have Adam is his name, Adam Bourne. He's with the Louisville City Foundation, and he comes out, works with our kids. And it's not just our program. They do it for so many nonprofits in the city. But they started working with us at our after-school program that's at Carrick Elementary. With a 10-week program, soccer clinic. They've done tours of the field, behind-the-scenes action, tickets to our kids, tickets to our families.
That's awesome.
That led into like a summer camp that we did with them, and so many other really, really cool corporate partners that have just stepped up and said, I'm raising my hand, how can we help? And that's been awesome.
We are still looking. So if
Always
people
looking.
hear this and they're wondering how they can get involved,
Yeah.
like, we want you to be involved.
Is it just business in the city, like in Louisville, or can it be business
can
in the
be
surrounding area?
Surrounding areas.
Or even national. One of our, we work with Sabaro. They're a neuroscience, like telestroke company that they're really focused on lots of communities, but it's specifically rural communities, because when someone's having a stroke, it has to be FAST is the acronym, and it has to be responded to very quickly. So a lot of times if you live in a rural community, your access to like an ambulance or hospital is very far away. So I don't know, she just got a promotion. I wish I knew her title, but her name's Chauncey. And she works with us she comes to our schools and she teaches our kids like preventative work, like how do you eat healthy to prevent having a stroke in the future? What do you do if you witness someone having a stroke? How do you call 911? Their company even wrote a book called Be Fast about a child superhero who responded to a stroke and saved like a grandparent. And that was, there's great work being done nationally now
That's
with
cool.
that. And so,
that's
they're a nationwide startup that randomly said, do you want to work with us? Not randomly.
Yeah.
Intentionally, they found us and they said, yeah, how can we partner? And we're on year 2 now. It's been great.
Nice. Maybe I'll have to think of a excuse me. Maybe I have to think of a way to make an accounting
Absolutely.
workshop.
We do have a financial literacy month. I wish Sarah was here, our COO, because she's done great. It was we started with enrichment, like kids have to have fun. They're burnt out all day. And then we partner with Evolve 502, who sends a lot of outside enrichment. And then it again was like, how do we determine if this is impactful for our kids? And that's where we came up with, okay, we have all these corporate partners. Let's pick a month. Let's expose kids to opportunities where it's like, yep, you can read. And what goals do you want to set for yourself? What interests you?
Yeah.
What do you see yourself doing in the future? So a lot of times people will come in with a kid-friendly activity. They'll talk about how they got there. what happens in their industry, what opportunities are available, and then just do a fun activity with the kids. And a lot of people are like, oh, I don't know if I can plan a kid-friendly activity. And we're normally like, we got it. We'll help you figure something
Think
out.
about what
think about what that
and,
could look
and
like.
how it relates to your
I would imagine
area
most of these
expertise.
activities have to be planned with your team anyway. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but how often do you guys have someone say, "Oh, I have something," and you just blindly let them come in?
Never.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
So
we always vet the activity first to see, does this need tweaking? Do we need to scrap it and think of something else? But in general, a lot of our partners come ready with like, I have this idea. I sort of want to do this thing. And then our team really helps shape it into like, this is how we can do it in a kid-friendly way.
nice.
That's awesome.
So that takes the edge off for people listening.
Absolutely.
Brainstorming.
Right. Yeah.
1,000%. Yeah, we just had a nurse in yesterday. Her name's Jessica, and she's doing her like direct care practice. And I was talking to her about like, what does it look like to go from being a nurse practitioner working in a corporate like office to like having your own practice. And she's going to volunteer during healthcare month. And she had lots of great ideas. And we were like, we want to assure you that our staff know, they're not taking a break. Like if you come in, they're there to help and support and guide and lead and manage behavior and all those things. And then a lot of times we'll just break the kids like smaller groups. So our assistant teacher, our lead teacher, the person that's volunteering can come in. They can each kind of have a smaller group because there's about 20 kids in all of our after school programs. So it can get, controlled chaos is what we like to call it.
Yeah.
Yes.
How
And-
many? Oh,
Yeah. I, think
I was
you're
going to
about
say,
it.
how many locations across the city of the after-school programs are there?
So we have 5 right now. We're in the South Louisville Community Center, and that site serves 2 schools, Simple Elementary and Fraser Elementary. And then we're in Jacob, Gudermuth, Carrick, McFerrin.
Awesome.
Yep.
Wow. Did you start out with like just 1 or 2, or like if you always?
Yes.
I would love to know like how you got started at the first location, how that grew, things like that.
Funny you should ask. It's always just it was an exploratory adventure.
Yeah.
We were still working at Jacob Elementary is where we taught together, and we still have an after school program now. And we had a really great principal who I always say he believed in his staff. He believed we were the best. I tell our kids that all the time. We are the best of the best teachers. You are the best of the best kids, and we're all going to come in here and act like it. So we saw a need, like our kids needed extra support, and we didn't have enough time during the school year and the school day to get it done. And we wanted to host our first camp while we were still teaching. And so we went to our principal and said, how do you get approval so we can use the building over the summer? And he helped us figure that out. He asked our assistant soup at the time, and then we had never raised a penny in our lives because our background was education. I remember going to my friends and like, I saw your kid did this like silent auction thing. Like, how do you get silent auction items? And so like, we need a letter. We need a nonprofit status. Okay, I guess we have to go apply. So it was all this very like, yeah, we'll do that. So
Truly learning.
Yeah.
As we're going.
Yeah. And we did. We had a trivia night and a silent auction as a trivia night. We raised $12,000, and that's how we hosted our first summer camp at Jacob Elementary,
That's
2018,
cool.
and we had 9 kids. Yep.
And we really focused on the kiddos who had been truant for most of that year because we wanted to provide that service to those families specifically. And so our very first day, nobody showed up. I know.
That must have felt good.
And so
Don't worry, we don't take no for an answer.
we went to every house and knocked on the door and roused our kids from bed and said, camp started today. It's time to come on. So at the end, we ended up with like all 9 kids there. And after about a week, we didn't have to go knock on their doors anymore. They were just coming voluntarily, which huge compliment.
Yeah.
And now we have a whole flow for that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mind,
It's not your personal.
You don't have to go take kids out.
We don't have
Yeah.
to do that
But
anymore.
we do.
But we would.
Our program director does, and she makes sure that our staff does.
Yeah, your program director has somebody who with a little bag of rocks and goes and throws it out their window. Right?
We haven't had to do that yet, but we will.
Yeah. That's cool. So Yeah, I mean, you guys were saying how much learning there was. I mean, I find with a lot of my clients or people that I talk to about even just small business, it's like they don't realize that they have to renew their LLC every year, and they're like, they don't understand how certain things interact with taxes for this or that. But it's like with a nonprofit, you also have to immediately understand like how to fundraise because you don't have a product you're selling, so you have to convince people to help you help other people, and I feel like that just adds an additional layer of like trial by fire, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah.
Starting a nonprofit is like buying 10 new hats and having to wear them simultaneously and figure out,
Fair.
you know, how
one's,
they
like,
work
on fire.
best. Yeah, one's on fire.
I think the good thing is that you don't realize that when you're like, I'm going to start a nonprofit. And then as you start doing it, you're like, oh, I have to do this. Okay.
It's funny that you say that. Her dad's best friend, Allie, entered, like when we had this idea, she's like, we'll go talk to him. His name's Roland. He is the CEO at another nonprofit called Collaborative for Teaching and Learning. So the first time we went to meet with him, he was like, you probably don't want to do that. Like, find somebody who will be a fiscal sponsor. Like, just go through the school district. You already work there. And we were like, thank you so much for your time. And we're going to do exactly the opposite
of what you just told us to do.
Yes.
And he was so supportive and still is to this day.
Yeah.
He is a
Yes.
mentor 7
Right.
years later.
He
We
just
will, like,
he
we'll
sees
call
the
him.
administrative headaches.
Yeah.
And the,
Yes.
Yeah.
And he'll be like, you remember that time I told y'all not to start a nonprofit? He's like, I'm so glad you didn't listen. I'm like, us too. We love you.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
So, how many schools are there that? I mean, I have no idea how many public schools, elementary or otherwise, there are in Louisville.
There's
So,
96 elementary schools. Isn't that crazy?
and you're in a handful of them.
I know.
Why is JCPS not having all of them?
Money.
Money.
It's expensive to run programs for free.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
It's not the most like easiest. It's not the easiest thing to pull off, and we learn. We like to do everything well.
Yeah.
So
As you should.
we've
Nobody
scaled
needs
up
another
and we've
nonprofit
scaled
that
down.
pretends to do its mission.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So we had 8 up to 8 at one point, and we're down to 5 this year. And we've made some tough decisions. Like looked at our budget and said, well, we could continue being at 8 and not be what we say we're going to do. High quality, like strong teachers, trained well, communications well, enrichment's great, opportunity's great. So we scaled down to 5 this year, and honestly, it with the size of our staff, the capacity wise, it feels much more manageable.
Good.
I feel like the resources that our children are getting are the best they could possibly be. I feel like it's easier to bring in our corporate partners and people that make them that, just raise that bar a little higher when we only have 5 sites instead of 8. And not saying we'll never get there, but that's where we're at right now. And I just want to make sure that whatever we are doing is as good as it can possibly be.
I think that's very, very admirable. I think whether it's for-profit or nonprofit, there can be this mindset of like once you understand like how a particular organization's growth can be turned into like a technique and a process and a system, it can be tempting to forget about what you're actually trying to do and just lean into like, well, if we follow these steps over and over, we just keep growing. And isn't that so exciting that we're growing? It's like, what about the recipients of the programs or your customers? Like, are they getting the experience that you intended on them to get? So
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's very noble. Instead of just being like, so then we went to 12 because we thought it was good enough,
Yeah, and I'm humble enough to say, like, we have gotten caught up in the, like, oh, the opportunity is there to scale. This school said they wanted us to be there. This funding became available for this year, so let's do it. And then, I think any business owner, nonprofit or for-profit, has to be able to make the tough decisions and sit back and reflect and say, what is best? Am I doing what I set out to do?
Yeah.
So I think our staff is happier with 5. I think our kids are going to have an absolutely amazing year. I think the school, and then the schools that we're in, we found it's most, like any partnership, it's most effective when the people that you're partnering with are truly on board. And the schools that we're in this year and the community centers that we're in, like Parks Louisville Parks and Rec through the community center. They've always been a great partner. The principals in the schools that we're at this year, and for the most part, everybody has, but we all feel like we're stretched so thin. But
Right.
the people that we're partnering with are like, yes, we want this program here. Like, how can we help you connect with parents and kids? How can we bring you in as a partner to be at literacy nights, family nights, back to school events? Like, it feels truly like when I was a trauma trainer. That's what my last job before I left the district. And I would always say, we have to give our kids wraparound resources. And I've said it a million times. I would be at schools doing staff trainings. They're like, well, what are they? And I'm like, great question. I don't have a lot to like refer you to. So I love to be like, yeah, we are the wraparound resource. Like, we are open 4 days a week after school. It is a free, like, your kid's struggling, let us help you. Like, you want us, we can't help you. Well, how else? Like, who can we point you to? Like, it really does feel like a true partnership should in all the locations that we're at.
And how do you determine, how do you determine which schools that you end up having your programs in? Do they reach out to you? Do you like do some research, figure out where the need is, things like that?
So it's been a little bit of both.
Yeah.
We do a referral process. Mostly if a school admin staff is happy with the program, they have been happy to share it with other administrative staff members at different schools. So that's been really helpful. But I think it also helped that we came from the school district. And so we sort of had the background knowledge of like, we really want to help in this area. So that's how we started the first summer camp at Jacob.
Yeah.
And we're still there.
Yeah.
And are any of these schools in the Shively area?
Yeah.
4219? No, that's
Oklahoma.
That's Oklahoma.
Shively's 40216. And so
40216.
Goodermuth Elementary is in the Cloverleaf community, which is like on one side of Dixie Highway,
Okay.
on one side of Shively. And then Jacob, it's technically the Jacobs neighborhood, but it's in District 3, which like Metro Council wise is
Gotcha.
kind of like the Shively district. So two that are really close, like right there between Dixie Highway and 7th Street is where they're both kind of.
Gotcha. I ask, one, because Shively Area Ministries is a client. Two, because of the factoids I've learned from them, that's one of the worse off, I guess you could say, by certain financial metrics. It's one of the worse off zip codes in our area. So I was curious if you guys were out there doing what you can.
A lot of families, I think, are I know a lot of families that are overlooked out there.
Yeah.
There's definitely a lack of services.
Yeah.
The wraparound services that,
Right.
there's just not a lot of opportunities there.
With the family nights, what do those look like?
Ever evolving.
Ever evolving. What are some ways that they look?
Well, just like anything else, when you're a smaller nonprofit, the funds are limited, the staff capacity. So it used to be, let's just have a family night and invite our kids' siblings in, their families, to see like this is where they're spending time, and these are the friends that they've made, and here's the progress that's happened, and here are these people that work in our program that are a person for your kid that cares about them. And then it turned into we would partner. Evolve 502 is really a great partner for us. They said, hey, we have this family night series, and they chose a couple of our sites, and they bring in parenting resource specifically, so guest speakers, and then they bring in enrichment providers that can help keep our kids occupied and having fun while the parents can take a break and actually receive the resources that are being offered. They provide meals, and those happen like once a month, so that's been great. But again, with everything that we do, we want it to be very intentional and impactful. So I feel like those are kind of buzzwords and can be overused, but at the end of the day, that's what it is.
Right.
So we really want to lean into families learning together, breaking like generational cycles of like, why do you feel stressed out? Why is your relationship with school not always the best one? Why does helping your kiddo make you feel like uneasy, or does it make you feel uneasy? So we have recently started. Well, actually, I'm going to give the credit to Sarah. Sarah Hanna, our chief operating officer, she created a whole series of how do we bring in our parents and teach them the same things that teachers are, like their same training. It's letters, it's science of reading, it's how the brain learns to read without any, needing any background knowledge or any of that. It's like, this is how kids learn to read best. So she's put this series together where K through 2 parents and 3 through 5 parents can get together and learn developmentally about their kids' literacy growth and teach them those strategies. Again, that same model of, we got the kids, they're going to be doing something fun. We're going to break it down. We're going to simplify it and make it seem accessible for parents so that they can read with their kids at home and help their kids at home without it being a task that feels like, I'm not sure about this.
Yeah.
And then once they learn, then they eat a meal with their kids together. And then at the end of it, they practice what they learned with their kiddos.
That's cool.
And so the kids are like, I like it that my parents are learning and not me.
They have homework.
They have
That's
the homework
funny.
now. And we did that. Carrick Elementary has been a great partner. They want parents in the building as much as they can possibly have them in there. They want them involved. And so they actually asked us to design that program. We did it. It was pilot. It was great feedback from all parties involved, kids, administrative staff there, our staff. And so we're currently looking to expand that and make it available to even schools or communities that we're not in for programming. Like, where can we host this in the community and give those same resources, even if your kid's not in a program we have.
That's awesome.
That is awesome.
Yeah, I feel like coming from like a middle class suburban background, like I'm feeling as like our kids are reaching 4 or 5 years old, I feel like this good but negative reinforcement of like my kids need, like I have that generic like what do you call it, like middle class wanting to aspire upwards type of mentality of like my kids need to know how to do this now. Like, so all of a sudden I'm like, everything, like we need to make sure
Why
they know
can't
how to
they
do X,
read?
Y,
And I'm
or
like,
Z or something. But different backgrounds are going to produce different ways of thinking or lack thereof. So it's like if you weren't raised in a household in which there was like this like achievement expectation, and that's not always the best thing, but it can be used for good. I could see where then I like that this is trying to create a healthy environment, but it's a positive reinforcement too. That's like the kids and the parents enjoy getting that opportunity to spend that time together and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because it can be tough. My kids hate when I try to teach them anything. So, like, let's try to make it as easy as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, reinforces the positive experience that literacy can be for both parents and kids.
Yeah.
And even like your all's kids are younger. I know like the oldest one you said is
5. Yeah.
now. I mean, at that age, for any parents, I think it's just letting them know, like, if you're thinking about it and you're trying, you are doing a good job. I mean, the most important thing for kids at that newborn to 5 age is just language, exposing them to language, books. What does it look like to pick up a book, to understand that this print on the page represents like sounds and speech, and that the flow of text goes left to right, and those things are so important. I remember we were first getting our literacy certification and learning about like phonemes and sounds and words and the onset and rhyme, and being able to manipulate sounds to make new words, and just thinking about how often when we were kids, like what were the songs, I like to eat apples and bananas. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Eat apples and bananas. Oh, McDonald. All those things
Yeah.
that were
Teach you
songs
those
that we
sounds
grew
and
up
vowels.
on, and you're teaching kids to hear rhymes and to manipulate sounds. And when we get to do our work in elementary, and we're saying, well, what happens if you say the word cat? Like, what sounds do you hear? And then you want a child to be able to say cat, and then we're like, okay, well, what happened if you change the vowel in the middle to this? And then you think about those like early childhood things where it's like, oh, well, if you're singing those songs and reading those nursery rhymes and doing those books, that is coming naturally to kids.
That's cool.
Well, and I was told once that, I don't know if this is true, so you tell me, but our 5-year-old, she would read books, which just really meant she was looking at the pictures, and she would either just go based off the pictures, or she would remember where we had read the book to her. And so she's reading the books to her younger siblings in like her own, like what she remembers or what she sees. And she was like, she's been so excited about that. And so now we are actually we just started like her homeschooling for the year a couple weeks ago, and where she knows her alphabet, but we're learning all of the sounds, and like to see the excitement when she gets them like all right, like she knows them all, is like, oh, and we're not even to like the actual like reading part yet. So, like just to see that progress and to know like, oh, each time we do a little thing, she gets so excited because she wants to read. She's been like, I'm going to know how to read soon, and I'm like, yeah, God willing, you will be. So it's just so exciting. I'm like, you will be.
Seeing that light bulb click is the best.
Yeah, and the program that we're doing, like, we're learning the sounds, but then like the first book they read is just, it's like these little mini books that you like staple together, and they have like they're mostly all like the 3-letter like rhyming words, and so just to get them started, like the first book they read, so it's like good momentum and it's positive reinforcement, and so it's like, wow, the first time we're going to like read a book together is going to feel like, for me, I mean, it's just like you see your child do something new and it's so exciting. But then to like also think like she's going to be so excited. So it's just, I don't know. It's so beautiful. I'm like hearing you guys talking about all the programs and the different things. I'm like, oh, it's just, I don't know. Maybe it's just the parent in me, maybe not. But it's so beautiful. And so I love it. I did like 1 year before Aaron and I, we might have been dating. I don't remember, but I lived in Shelby Park and I did like 1 year of tutoring, and that like, I went in there, I just did it because other people I knew were doing it. I really wasn't like, let's go tutor kids, Yeah.
Like, I don't know, my friend told me.
My friend told me to come do this. But by the end of it, like, I feel like I got more out of it almost, than like they did sometimes, because it's like, wow, that was so impactful. And I didn't go there for that. And so I just think it's so beautiful, like to have this whole nonprofit based around, helping these kids learn to read, and just, so anyway, I just think it's so great.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. It is funny that you say that too, because our goal, and we don't really talk about this part of it a lot, is like if we're hiring, people will always ask us, oh, I have so-and-so and they're interested in education, or they're great with kids. Are you hiring? Do they have to be certified teachers? We're like, no.
Yeah.
It's truly a method. It's a science to it. We can teach anyone who's invested and committed and has a growth mindset and wants to learn how to do this. We can teach anybody how to do it. And then with that, the amount of people, whether they come to work for us as tutors or not, when they're in college or straight out of college or looking for a second job, that in itself should help break some of the cycles of when you have your own kids, or if you have a family member or a friend who's struggling, like they now have the same knowledge that we got, a master's degree in. And we're like, the A sound can be represented with AY, or it can be A-E. Like, and they can explain that instead of being like, sound it out, look at the picture. And then the kid's like, oh,
I don't know.
Like, that's confusing. So that is a really exciting part about it.
Yeah.
Are you guys familiar with Dolly Parton's Imagination Library?
Yes.
Is there a way for you guys to like get? And obviously, they stop giving you free books once you're like 5. So the kids you guys see are older than 5. Is there a way for you guys to like sneak their little siblings into Dolly Parton's Imagination Library?
It's funny that you said that. I think it was about a year ago. They just opened up a Louisville branch.
Oh yeah.
A year ago, or maybe a couple of years ago. So we were having some discussion about how do we get their branch access to our families, because a lot of our kids have much younger siblings and could really benefit from that. My best friend has her kid signed up for that, and she's 2. And her favorite thing to show me when I get there is her entire library of Dolly Parton books. Yeah. And I just think that's the most precious thing ever. And that you were talking about your daughter reading, quote unquote reading. But that is so important. It's just, it's called Concepts About Print. So just knowing like, you turn a page this way, and this is the front of the book, this is the back of the book, how to orient yourself physically in a book. Yeah. And that is a huge precursor for reading. So I just love Imagination Library and what they're doing to like promote early literacy.
Yeah. Our kids like fight.
Get that conversation
started. Yeah. Reach back out to me.
Well, the kids Rose and Leo, they would like, it
fight.
says who it's for. And so like, they never came on the same day. And so they'd be like, who gets to read it first? Whose name is on the back of it? Is it Rose?
Is it Rose or Leo? Well, and I actually had, right after college, so my minor was actually in nonprofit administration, and so I interned with Metro United Way, and they have, I assume they still have it, like an early literacy program of some sort, and they got people signed up with Dolly Parton's Imagination Library. And so when Rosie, I think, was like born, I like got on and was like, I'm signing her up for the books. And so they both get them, and it is like their favorite. Every time we go to the mailbox, is there a new book for me? Is there a book? And I think Rosie at this point has like aged out. She doesn't get them anymore. I haven't quite broken the news to her yet because we get enough.
You're still sneaking books into the
yeah,
mailbox.
they're still. I'm like, we still get at least one book every month, and so.
Now the kid that you said like has her collection on display.
Yes.
I wish she was my kid, because our kids destroy their books. They just beat the snot out of them. Not because they're like reading them so avidly always. They just throw them around and rip one. And I'm like, when I read a book, sometimes you don't know that it's not a brand new book.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not going to crease the spine. I'm going to.
I always have the moment where I try to do that, and then I'm like, oh no, never mind. Just gonna get in there.
Yeah, my favorite time to read is in the summer. I'm like, you don't even know I read this book if it isn't like dipped in pool water.
Yeah,
and, like,
yeah. Erin's always like, look at your book, and then look at my book, and like the difference is like mine's all crinkly, and
slept on it,
left it in the lost it in the car, found it a couple weeks
folded
later.
it so she could read one page with one hand.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's, you do what we got to do.
Exactly. I'm like, I got a bunch of kids at home,
Yeah. That's how my dad read. He didn't read. He read a lot of the same books. He loved The Lord of the Rings. We had to buy him a new set eventually because they were literally just falling apart at the seams the way he would bend them.
A well-loved book.
That is a well-loved book for sure.
But also it works out that our kids kind of destroy theirs because a lot of them, or all the Dolly Parton ones at least, are paperback. And so then I have like in my head, I'm like, they loved this book, so I'm going to go buy it in hardback for like their birthday or Christmas, or it just gives me something, because there's certain ones they
like the Llama Llama books.
They love the Llama Llama books, if you know
those are
those.
popular.
Yeah. They love those books. I think we've actually a couple copies of the same Llama Llama book.
One thing I don't like though about a trend I see in some kids' books. So I get like 100 years ago, something like Winnie the Pooh, which I love reading them, Winnie the Pooh, though really only Rose is at a stage that she's even able to listen and comprehend what's going on. Like Winnie the Pooh, it's like sometimes you get a full 2-page of text without even, an illustration. And I get that for modern times that might be a little much, or it's just an age.
Really, for any times, I have a hard time.
But I see some of these books sometimes from Imagination Library, sometimes just whatever, a kid's book from the library. Some of these books, though, go the opposite direction. They have text, but then it's like the next round of text assumes you properly interpreted what happened in the picture in between the two sets of text. And I'm like, how am I supposed to read this to my kid? They don't even know what's going on. So sometimes I'll read it, and I'll be like, and then they did this, see? And then I'll keep reading.
And that's, thinking out loud, metacognition. I mean, that's really important. And there are whole books, like I remember when we were still teaching lessons, like when you're focusing on comprehension, like we would intentionally choose books that had barely any text, and it was solely pictures, because the idea was to get kids to look at the picture and think about what was happening and infer, make predictions and all these things. So there's a time and a place for it, I guess.
For sure.
I'm the same way. I think when you're working with your own kids, I need you to understand what happened in this picture. So let me tell you what I'm thinking about when I look at this picture, and then let's keep going. And they're like, cool story. But they'll pick up on it. They'll appreciate it. When they're reading, on their own, right?
With the rhyming and the sounds and such, do you guys like Dr. Seuss? I like Dr. Seuss. Our kids love Dr. Seuss.
They love Dr. Seuss.
I am admittedly a huge Dr. Seuss fan.
Yeah.
Some people
She's
are not. A lot of people in my field are not Dr. Seuss fans anymore, but I am.
Okay.
I am.
That wasn't
we have a
supposed
whole,
to be a spicy
like,
question.
It is spicy.
Oh, is it?
It's spicy.
Oh, you don't have to explain it. Okay, sorry.
No, not even for that. I mean, just for
just as far as strong
pedagogy
opinions.
in general.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I am not, because there's no plot line.
Some of them. Well, the larger ones.
No, now
Horton Hears a Who.
So the Horton Hears a Who, the Grinch has one. But I guess I'm thinking the ones that my nephew reads.
Yeah, like the
he's
really
got
intro
Hop
ones
on
are-
Pop.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
if I could go into the zoo and it's,
No, totally. Our kids, we bought some of the nicer, larger ones, and it got to a point before we moved. Right now, like, we don't have all our books out because we don't have a bookshelf where we're at, and so the kids, they keep asking me, like, "Where's the Dr. Seuss books?" or "Where's
bust
this and
those
this?"
out.
And
Yeah.
I'm like, "Well, they're boxed away right now, and I'm not getting all your books out because we don't have a place for them." But they really, the ones with a larger story, they liked those. But
Well, and let me say this. I think that reading, circling back to reading as a healthy coping strategy, are you reading to learn? Are you learning to read? Or are you reading for pleasure?
yeah,
My favorite Dr. Seuss book when my kids were little was Go Dog Go.
yeah,
It teaches a lot of, like, the under, above, inside,
Yeah.
outside things that are confusing to them. And
Yeah.
so it was still reading to learn, but it was like a very specific purpose, and there's definitely not a plot. But it is funny, and my kids love to talk about, like, the hat that was in it, and we made the hat for, like, their, so I'm like, yeah, it was fun. It kept their attention, and I didn't have to fight with them to read it.
Yeah.
And they did get to hear rhymes and words, and they did, enjoy it. And I enjoyed that time with them, but I wouldn't teach it. I wouldn't use it for comprehension.
yeah.
So.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Well, what are some books that you like a lot, or an author you like?
Or
a
is
lot?
there like a book that like sparked your like love for reading at a young age or any age really, or like a book that really struck you?
for teaching, I really like, there's a book called Jabari Jumps.
Jabari Jumps?
And it's so good for so many reasons. It's good for literacy comprehension, but it's also really good for like teaching social skills and resiliency and like stress management, because it's all about this little kid, and he's determined to go off of the high dive at the pool. And he keeps telling himself day after day, like, it's going to be your day, it's going to be your day. And then he finds an excuse to not go off the high dive. And so it's just a really cool book, because in the end, he does go off the high dive. But you can talk to kids about, like, think about how Jabari handled this. Like, how do you think he was feeling in the moment? What was going on inside his body? See how he handled that responsibly, and he contained his reaction, and he did some deep breathing. And so it's really a good book about how to cope in a healthy way with something scary. That's a great teaching book for me.
What's what's just a book you like to read? Is there a book you turn back to a lot?
I think the very first book that I realized, oh, I am a reader, is White Oleander by Janet Fitch.
Okay.
And that's also a movie, so if you don't want to read the book, you can watch the movie. And it was just great. I mean, it's sad. It's a very sad book about like a girl who goes in and out of foster care, but it is phenomenal.
Yeah.
It's a great book.
Well, same two questions to you.
I've never read that book. I might have to try it. For teaching, it's actually a book that our logo, if you see our logo, it's like the orange square, the little green crazy dot, and it is based off a book called The Dot. There's several books that I used when I was teaching, but that one is a good one. It's about a little girl who is frustrated in art class and in school in general, and she had an assignment, and she got like, I'm not going to do this. And for lack of better words, insert whatever else she might have been thinking in her brain.
Yeah.
And she was like, psh, and she just took the crayon and she like scribbled all over the paper. And her teacher responded in a way that is how we would ask our staff to respond, or even remind myself as parents to respond. You could be like, we're not doing that. I hear that all the time. We're not doing that in here. I'm not putting up with that today. I'm like, oh Lord, what would you do if somebody told you we're not doing that and get out of here every day? Because kids come to school with big emotions. But her teacher was just like, that is a beautiful dot. I love it. Like, tell me about that picture. And she was expecting this, like, I'm going to get in trouble for scribbling and saying I'm not doing this. So she ended up loving her dot artwork, and she made lots of dot artwork. And, there's the branding in itself, thinking about the business perspective, the author is great. And there's like dot days now that schools celebrate, because it's just a really good opportunity to teach about, like, you can do hard things, and it's frustrating to do hard things, and it's okay to take a break. And it reminds adults, like, you need to be the emotionally mature one and responsible one and model how to respond to this behavior that kids are going to come to school with and how to coach them through it instead of make it worse.
Yeah.
So I would say that's my favorite teaching book. And a book as a child, Miss Mattingly and Miss Miller, they were my teachers at McFerrin. They used Chicka Chicka Boom Boom when I was a little kid in The Giving Tree. I feel like that's a classic for
Such
millennials.
a
We
good
just
one.
got that one actually, I think.
Amazing. It just talks about how you give and give and give, and there's nothing left.
You know, I haven't even read that one to them yet, but they have it like in their room that they'll like look at the pictures, and we give them they like books for bedtime, like because they don't always fall asleep right away, so they always want a book to look at.
They never fall asleep.
And so that's one of the ones I haven't got to read to them yet, but they are like, "Can I have that one to look at?" I'm like, "Sure."
And that's one of those books that they'll understand it more as they get older.
Yeah.
Like when I read it as a teacher, now as an adult, I'm like, I don't know that I quite understood the depth of this
Yeah.
book when I loved it when I was 7, but you know, it made sense. And now I'm just a sucker for a good romance. I keep trying to go into like mysteries and dramas
Yeah.
and like murders, and I'm like, give me a romance. That's what I need. It can be historical, it can be any of that, but I need it to feel like it's real, and I need there to be some romance. Like
Yeah.
I can't. Fantasy is a really big genre right now, and I'm just like, it's not real. I'm not that a fairy is never going to show up and fall. I cannot fall in love with this person.
She's ever the realist.
Oh, that's funny.
I'm
like
yeah.
that too.
I'm a realist to a fault.
Cinderella's fairy godmother is actually just her guardian angel, and your guardian angel's real.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, I believe that. I believe that.
Oh, that's,
Um,
I would say I realized I'm also like I really love historical. I read Aaron bought me, which I asked for it. The Jane Austen, like all
Yes.
of hers.
Oh.
I've read the first 2, and then I also read for the first time last year, like the whole Little House on the Prairie like series. I had never read those.
I used to love those. When I
And
was a
I'm
kid.
like, these are all just so good. And I realized I was like, I just really like historical stuff. I find that just like so, I don't know, I find it so fascinating. It's really interesting. So if you have any recommendations on historical ones you like,
I read one
yeah.
called The Kitchen
The
a long
Kitchen,
time. Like
okay.
I say a long time, like 10 years ago.
yeah,
It's really good.
okay, I'll look that one up.
So, with reading as a healthy coping mechanism, do either of you ever just get angry and pissed off and just rage read? You just sit, you're like, I'm not going to yell at
Rage
anyone. You know, sometimes you get home, the house is messy, and you can't, for some reason, take that sense of responsibility for the messiness. So you're cleaning, but you're angry at everyone else for making the house messy.
Oh, I don't know if I rage read, but I definitely rage clean. If I am vacuuming the carpet and lighting a candle, just get out of my way. Like, there's a reason.
That's funny.
Well, I guess my question would be like, what? I know you said that you've had some growings and then some scaling backs, and so, but where do you kind of see everything in 5 to 10 years? Do you have any like big goals that are like
You have a
closer to
vision
now, or
board?
have a while? Yeah, you have a vision board. Where do you see everything going?
Did we make it public?
Oh, okay. Sorry, this is a spicy question.
I think we should.
I think we should say
I
it.
mean,
There you
we're
go.
big believers in manifestation.
Yeah.
You gotta say it
Yeah.
to bring it.
Yeah,
We would love to start a school.
that's
Yes.
cool.
Yeah, we would really love to do that.
Yeah.
I think we've got all of the components, a lot of the puzzle pieces. So really, it's just about sitting down and planning it out, and we'll do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we will do it.
I will
That'd be
say,
awesome.
there might be a family I should introduce you to, because one of our clients is Immaculata Classical Academy off of Zorn Avenue, and they started out, I think, I don't know the founders personally, because by the time I got involved, they had grown just enough that they were wanting to be a little bit more of an institution, but it was essentially founded by one family, and it was something closer to a homeschool group or a homeschool co-op, and they slowly grew it to where then it was a school, then a small school that they were probably largely bankrolling, but then sometime in the last half decade, a connection of a connection of a connection, some non-famous Catholic billionaire needed a place to donate $2.5 million. And that, that stuff's available on 990s. So I'm not saying.
Right.
Our grant writer will stock a 990.
Yes, she will.
I mean, she'll just like, let me just see who they're giving to and what they're giving.
So yeah, hey, maybe there's a family I could have you guys talk to figure out at least to get to point A, make it real.
Those are
and then you can make it better.
How do we become an actual certifiable school?
Yeah.
So eventually we'll get there.
That'd be really cool.
Yeah.
Do you have we don't have to focus on this too much, but do you have a name in mind for it?
Oh God.
Oh,
Names are so they're one of the most exciting. We argued about baby names when we were dating.
Yeah.
I love names. Names.
Yeah, we're all names.
I love it when I find a really good name, but we talked about this earlier. We are so not creative. And so I would probably call it literacy leaders.
There you go.
Most schools are named after someone or
Right.
some school, so maybe that would come to us
Yeah.
as we, worked out the details or figure out exactly what our school would look like and how it would be structured, and because it will be different, but I do think it's needed. And we'll make it happen. So it'll come in time.
Yes.
That's awesome.
That's cool. Well, I don't know. I'm not
Yeah, I
trying.
feel like that
I feel
was
like
a
I did
good-
an that's like we're wrapping up. But we don't have to wrap up. Is there anything that you want people to know about I Would Rather Be Reading?
Yes.
Yeah. Everything.
Everything.
Yeah.
Go for it.
We are on a mission. This is also new, so follow along or reach out for a meeting if you're listening along and thinking, oh, I'd like to know more. I want to be involved. We are really trying to make sure that we are sustainable no matter what for the long term, and focusing on growing what we're calling our impact circle, and looking for like-minded people who want to support the mission and want to support all kids, our kids. So we have a goal, a lofty goal, of getting 400 Impact Circle investors, which is 400 people who will make a monthly donation that is a comfortable space for them. It could be $10 a month, it could be $50 a month, it could be $100 a month. But money that no matter what is happening in our community or society, that we're like, these are people who are putting kids first, are invested in making sure that literacy is equitable to everyone. And in that, creating a community, I feel like we've done a really great job, and our network of people have done a great job of spreading the word about what's happening and what we're doing and how to get more involved. So we're just trying to solidify that, and we'll be hosting quarterly events for our Impact Circle, not events, but like gatherings where, people can meet each other. We'll be at different locations across the community that have supported us as corporate partners, whether it be restaurants or offices or whatever, just to know like we are a group of people that all support literacy for all kids, and we are making an investment into the community in the future of I Would Rather Be Reading. So we're excited to launch that next year.
That sounds really
People
cool.
who want to know more.
Yeah.
We were also talking to a board member, and we were coming at it from the angle of doing individual monthly donations. And she said something about, well, what about corporations? And I was like, corporations are businesses. So we'll also be, if anybody is listening and they're a corporation or business, we will definitely want to talk to those people too.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, one thing, maybe actually we can extend this conversation a little bit. I want to be self-serving now. What are some ways that Bonaventure Bookkeeping has helped you? Would you encourage people to work with me?
Oh my gosh. Yes.
Let's talk about that.
Let's talk about it, because we talked a little bit about it earlier in the podcast, that you have to wear 10,000 hats and you have to know how to do it like immediately, even if it's not something your background is in. Neither one of us knew.
You didn't study accounting?
No. I taught first grade math because I didn't think I could teach fifth grade math. So no, Bonaventure Bookkeeping has really changed the game for how we understand finances, and then how we report on finances, and how well in order our finances are.
Thank you.
And it's
And
made
made
all
it
the difference.
possible, I mean, just for making future goals, like
Yes.
to buy a school. When we purchased our building on 6th and York in September, and that's when we realized that our old accountant wasn't what we needed and wasn't up to par. So that's what we found you and referred to you. And just before then, it was always us being like, does this look right? Is this what we need? Have we done our monthly accounting correctly? Oh, we're trying to play catch up. And so it's just such a relief. A lot of times I think small businesses, nonprofits think I can't afford another bill. I can't, another, and it's the time that is freed up and the confidence it has given us to know, like, we're not the ones trying to do accounting when accounting's on our wheelhouse. And we can trust that everything is in order and ready to show to any foundation that we're asking, a grant for, any bank that we want to buy a business for, any donor who wants to see our records. It's like, yeah, look at it. And, we haven't talked a lot about it, but we had in the past a board member that was frustrated with our accounting and that it didn't look right. But I am invested in education, and my passion is the programs we're developing. And I was like, I don't even know what they're wanting to see. And was never doing anything like, oh, I don't care about accounting, or I don't want to. It's just I truly didn't know how, which is, I can imagine how, we're trying to empower families through literacy. Like, I needed to be accounting empowered through like numbers and financial literacy. And now I'm like, yeah, open our books right now, right this second. Look at them. They're great. And would tell anybody to reach out to, hopefully you, because you've been in Bonaventure bookkeeping, your team. I'm like, if I write an email and say I need this paid, or I have a question about this, or can you pull up this report, it's there. And that's made our lives very easy to plan for the future and be present in where we're at and how we make decisions.
Well, that means a lot. Thank you very much.
And I have to give you a quick plug because when I tell you we have had bad luck with tax professionals, I mean, we have had BAD, all caps luck with tax professionals. And so Bonaventure Bookkeeping is opening their tax branch, and I have already lined up no less than 10 customers for you, including me personally, and all 3 of our businesses. And I'm pretty sure
awesome.
Ashley personally. So.
And we're not the only nonprofit who's had bad luck.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was half of us trying to find somebody. We were calling around, and everybody's like, not taking new clients, not taking new clients. So, yeah, this is where we're supposed to be. It's where we will be
for many, many years to come. We're so grateful.
That's awesome. Thank you. Yeah, I really think it's the time investment is a big part of it. I mean, obviously, you guys are a small organization. You're not just like some guy who offers his own labor of services. And, there's less to account for. What there is simpler to account for. But I really find that there is so much peace of mind that I'm able to bring people, even the really small people, when they don't have to stress themselves out thinking that they have to learn accounting or thinking that they have to learn how, QuickBooks works. Even though QuickBooks pitches itself as if the layman is going to use it, it's still a software where it assumes how accounting works. And I just find like we picked up one of the Royal Castle Clean, who cleans your all's building. She became a client sometime this past year, and she just found so much peace in knowing, like being able to see those.
Through us?
What's that? Actually, I think I referred her to you all.
Yeah, through your BNI group, yeah.
But just like she was so anxious and embarrassed that she didn't have accounting until like as if it was going to be some seamless transition. I'd be picking up where she left off. She was just so worked up about it, and it's okay. Like that's why I'm here. Like I want to make it easy for you. So.
It is a very vulnerable feeling to like show somebody, oh, I don't know how to do this.
Yeah.
So
and everybody has their strengths. In philanthropy, we always say like how you love people is how you do philanthropy. And that's how we get people involved. Like, what can you want to be involved? Well, what do you like to do? Well, let us help tell you where that plugs in. And I feel like you are good at numbers and it is your wheelhouse and you help people. You bring ease and peace of mind to people as individuals, I'm sure, definitely as companies. Like, I'm sitting here with numbers and finance are so not my background. To hear you say that, like, we hit $1 million last year in operating revenue, and you're like, you're a smaller org. The thought of me trying to do in like numbers for $1 million organization, I'm like, that is ginormous in my head. I'm like,
It is.
I would never trust myself with that.
That's
like,
not me.
That's not me. Like I'm so confident.
Saying you guys are tiny in a bad way.
I know.
Oh, I know that. But in your head, you're like, yeah, not a big deal. Don't worry about it. I'm like, I'm glad that we have you. Like,
Yes.
Well, thank you again.
And Simon and Danielle.
Yeah.
Simon and I text pretty much every day.
Yeah.
We love Simon.
It's probably too late now, but I've thought 1,000 times how I should get. I'm sure there's other apps out there, but the one I know exists is like pretty sure like I could get like a Ring Central app where like they could text through a company number that's still on their phone. But instead I just make everyone use their personal numbers.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's good to know. I've been trying to, I recently made a group chat with us, but maybe I should add Simon and Danielle to it because I've been doing that more and more. Is so that when sometimes our clients and us, we do need to text. I find that maybe we all have a more candid or sincere relationship, so it's all good, but I find it can also be helpful for my team if they can just send a text to somebody with me on there. So then it's just like, all parties are visible of what's being communicated or something. But well, that's good to know that you guys text.
Oh, he's great. And I guess for any small business or nonprofit, I think that leap when we first like brought you on to do accounting and it was our monthly reporting and then like we're scaling, we're growing, and the headache of sending invoices and paying invoices. It's, it's like, we don't mean to be late. It's just, I've had 200 emails today and forgot to click it. So like when we like went to that next level of what your team can offer and just the peace of mind it brings to know if somebody like does something for us or we need to send, the amount of times we sent to sponsor, they're like, yes, we're on board. Send us the invoice. And then I'm like, a month later, we're like, so like knowing that we have your team now, that everything's just there, it's already coded, it's already accounted for, like it's taken care of. I mean, highly suggest in scaling. Just
we did have a little bit of headache trying to get the POs to match up with the school system's needs.
True.
But
you figured it out.
We
Figured it out.
We got it.
Got the system going.
Well, all righty. Well, thank you so much, guys.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah.
You all are great podcasters, by the way.
You are. I've never felt more relaxed.
I know. It was very, very comfy.
Good. Oh, that's great. I'm glad to hear that.
Awesome. And that's a wrap. Thanks for listening to the Visions and Ventures podcast brought to you by Bonaventure Bookkeeping. And as we referenced in the episode, our new tax company, Pax et Bonum Tax, LLC. That is a partnership between me and one of our team members, Hampton Gibson. So reach out to us at www.bonabook.xyz for all your bookkeeping and tax needs. Thank you.